In this tutorial I'm going to dress up the Gimp Award certificate medallion. I'm going to make a better ribbon, or I think should be a better ribbon. So I need to make a smaller one. So I just I'll go to layers and make a new layer. Make a new layer, a transparency, leave it the same size as that one. We can play with it, twist them around. Now I turn Gimpy's the layer that Gimp's on, we turn the eye off so we can't see it anymore. I go to my rectangular select tool and just select an area within there. Don't make it too big because we're working with a small layer here, so we'll just check that one there. I go over to my patterns on the layers channel and choose this one here. I go over to my bucket fill tool and make sure you have this radio button here clicked, fill with pattern, and we fill it with the pattern. Go back and make sure you don't make any mistakes later on. We just click on the top one there and put it back to where it should be. Now while it's selected, we go to filters and we blur it, and I put in a motion blur. Now the motion blur, we change this angle back to 0 because it wants to put the blur in on an angle, and that should be about right for this one here. You can tweak it up just a little bit, maybe a little bit more, and that changes the way that appears. It changes the bubbles, and you can see now it's given it a bit of a cloth appearance. Now I could have used other filters within GIMP. I could have used the artistic ones where we've got cloth, clothy and canvas, but I chose to use this one because I can control the way it appears there a lot better. Now I go to filters and I go to distorts and I go to bend and curves, curve and bend. Now in this one here, it's because I could have used the path tool or the bezel tool, whatever they call it. In here they call it the path tool, some call it the bezel tool. I use this one here because it's easier for other people to use, like in my seniors class. So I click this one, automatic view. We want to see what's happening, and we go over to the channel here and just move it up a fraction. Now you can see the bend that's been placed in the ribbon. Now I move the upper curve. And this is the reason I laid it on its side, because it only works in that fashion. You can bend it this way, but it breaks it differently than what appears on the screen. I click the lower one and just grab it exactly and move it exactly the same as the other one. And now you can see the bend within that selection. So I go to click OK, and it makes it a floating layer once again. I click on that make it the layer icon there, and I dump that one there. We don't need that one. Let's put you off a little bit. We've got our curved one at the top. Now there's our curved one. Now I'll go and rotate it. I click on rotation tool and rotate it around just about that angle and click rotate. OK. Now I go to my free select tool, just click on the outside of that layer's boundary and then click on over here, just clip the corner of that ribbon, come out the other side. That saves any of that little bit left there. Now I go to select and I cut that out. I go to select and select none. That's given me a little cutout in my ribbon. Now I go to my fuzzy select tool and just select inside there, and that's selected all that layer. So I go to select and invert that selection. That puts it on the ribbon. I go to edit and I go to stroke. Now I'm going to put a stroke around here, and I only need about 1 pixel width. You leave it in the stroke line, just leave it at 1 pixel, and it'll stroke what colour is you've got your pen brush. It's black at the moment, so we ask it to stroke, and it strokes it as a little black line right around the border. You can use other colours if you wish. You can use a real darker blue, so it's like a hem. So we go to select, and we need to grow that a little bit because we're going to copy it. Now we grow it by 3 pixels, which will allow me to keep that selection around there. Now I go to edit and I copy that selection. Now I return to edit and I paste it back in. It's created another floating selection layer, so I click on the little icon down here and create the new layer, so it makes it the new layer. I go to my flip tool and I flip it over, and that's given me the other ribbon. Now the ribbon is a little bit too high, so we click on the top one and we move that, make sure move tool, click on that lower icon there and move it down so it's a little bit down the bottom so we can see where it is. Click the top one and move it down as well. Now I go to my flip tool and flip this one over. Now it's laid side by side. I just align those now to what I feel. We're still in my flip tool. I undo that one. I go to move tool and just move that over so it's fairly, click on the top one, fairly close. Click on the top one so it's fairly close. You can see where they are. Okay, that's reasonably good. Now I right click the top layer and merge down. That brings the two together. I go to filters, I go to light and shadow and put in a drop shadow. I'll leave everything at default because you can move your shadow around later on. There's the shadow layer. Just click on the shadow layer, make sure your move tool selected, and you can move the shadow wherever you like. Make it darken, make it more stand out as though it's more third dimensional. We'll leave it where it is. Click on the top layer, merge down. That brings the two together. We turn on Gimpy's eye again and we move him up to the top. Now the top layer is chosen, we move it down below Gimpy, and there's our layer. Now I go and click the top layer and merge visible layers. Merge visible layers, and there's a medallion with a much better ribbon than what we had in the first tutorial. So once again, thank you for watching and rate my video.